Hello everyone, it's Charlton, and there's some news on the Florida shooting. A couple different new pieces of information. Betsy DeVos, the Education Secretary, who's I wasn't real thrilled with her as a nominee originally because she was the spouse of a very wealthy donor, the founder of Amway. She's actually quite nice, and she seems fairly competent. I like her, and she's taken a lot of flack, and she's held strong. I've grown to kind of respect her class, and I think Trump nominates people not so I think it was a good choice basically. So, but she caught a lot of flack from some of the students for coming even before she came. People were tweeting about it, being rather nasty. I mean, it's just insane what's going on that people can say anything they want, and now because they're a minor, you can't even respond to it in any kind of specific way. And I'm not going to either. I'm going to try to stay away from names and stuff like that. I mean, I don't even know if you're allowed to respond in a general sense. Honest to goodness, it's so bananas. But I know there's a person I've been watching, and I'm still going to refrain from bringing him up because, I don't want him to be targeted, even though he's totally sticking his neck out. He has made a video basically testing it where he does nothing except put up the news that the own words of the individual, and he's basically saying, I mean, I kind of have to say the guy's name. It's silly for me to avoid it, but the guy's name is Lift the Veil, and he's got a great channel. I like it a lot, and I've been watching it, and he's been covering the purge and stuff, and he does a really cool show. He has people call in. I noticed it was great. I really like it a lot, but he was saying I don't want to live in a world where where I can't actually make a video about something that somebody else said, and it's their own words, unedited. It's them, and I can't even put that up there. That's insane. So and I'm going to get to this. There's in addition to the Betsy DeVos thing, and she just visited today. She's had some things to say about it, that it was a sobering experience and so forth. Fox was the article I chose to pull up and read a little bit from. But also, there's some news in the New York Post and other places about the shooter, Nicholas Cruz. Some of his behavior while in captivity. In his cell, he has his own cell because of the high-profile nature of his crime and so forth. And he's under suicide watch. I believe there's a camera there. I even get the sense he's aware he's being watched, but I'm not there. It's impossible for me to know. But it's hard. It is hard to piece together what's reported. Because it's basically been reported that he's in some instances was smiling and giggling or laughing. So, but other stuff, having difficulty sleeping. One of a family member came to visit him. It's not indicated who that person is and what the purpose of that was. It could have been any number of things. I would think it would have been like an administrative thing, if there's an issue over the estate or something of that nature. But I have no idea. So, but back to, I mean, I wasn't even going to do this. I wasn't even going to discuss these things, but why not? What the heck? I mean, who cares? I mean, I'm talking about it. And I'm not going to use specific names because that's fine. The guy from Lift the Veil is really nice, even though he's very strong in his opinions and very smart and fair, willing to listen to people that he totally disagrees with. He thinks a lot of the various channels that have been taken down are shills, but he still thinks that they should be allowed to say whatever they want, and I fully agree, completely agree. But I already lost my train of thought. Anyways, one of the other things I was going to say was, I know what he was going to say. He said he was saying I can understand that, the fear of putting somebody in a position where they could be harassed, which is a very real thing. It totally is, and I'm so new to this, but even the little experience that I've had, I wouldn't wish that on somebody. Somebody walking down the street and getting shouted at by complete strangers because of whatever, And that's a touchy subject because people inject themselves into that. They kind of want they want they're seeking they're putting themselves in a situation where they're going to get attention. You almost have to accept some of the negative attention, but it's a tough thing. But I will say, I just don't know if all the motives are so pristine here, from whomever. I mean, I just noticed one of the students, I was just shocked at the number of followers that follow. I'm an ambitious person, even though, I don't, I don't, I don't have, not looking, I don't, didn't succeed in any major way or anything like that. But I would like to, and I'm getting up in years, so it's maybe not going to happen. But I'm not against ambition, all right. But I like to call ambition for what it is, ambition. Whatever it is, ambition in your career, in a profession where you are, if it's whatever it is, man. If it's money you seek, if it's a high job in management, I don't care. Good for you, whatever. Being the best athlete, being a singer, anything you want. But ambition is ambition, So when I see somebody with 1.2 million followers, obviously largely as a result of this on Twitter, I begin to wonder, that has monetary value to it. There's just no question about that, okay? And I don't begrudge that. I would like to have the monetary value of $1.2 million. But that still is monetary value. And the fact that we might not even be able to say that is bananas. It's bizarre. It's silly. It's childish. It's just ridiculous. I will say, I don't want to get too specific because honestly, I don't want to harass anybody, especially somebody I can almost understand. I'm 46, so for me to engage and I'm not, but let's say any of these people were in the same room as me. For me to engage somebody that's in high school would be not great on my part. It wouldn't. It would be bad. But that doesn't mean that when people are trying to change our laws, and change the way the rest of us live from that point on, and limit the rights, decide for us the way things should be, that deserves to be questioned, man. It doesn't matter if I was sitting in my living room, if because of my polite nature and just because I understand that I'm a grown man, I'm 46, and that a 17-year-old doesn't really know anything, and so I would politely not challenge that person just because I understand that they're just full of hot air and they got all this energy and they're young and all this idealistic thoughts, and that I would just leave them be. I wouldn't try to. It wouldn't be fair, But like I said, when we're talking about changing the rules, the laws that we all have to live by from that point on, yeah, that person deserves to we can challenge that person. Okay, so let me get to some of the details of these two articles. Actually, there's not much to the Betsy DeVos thing. Like I said, I don't want to get too specific anyway. She was visiting the Parkland school. She's a Trump nominee, Trump, and so several of the high-profile students were tweeting nasty, things like, don't bother coming, do your job. I mean, the mouths on some of these kids, man. I don't know. I just, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I can't remember. I mean, I was mouthy, but I was also, I was afraid to do things, to get in trouble. I guess I did and just didn't think my parents would notice. Whatever, it doesn't matter. All right, so, but in this New York Post article, the alleged high school killer spotted smiling and giggling in his jail cell. And I'll just try to quickly point out some of it. It says the confessed shooter has been smiling and giggling while in isolation behind bars, according to reports. The observations were made by deputies between February 17th and 24th at Broward County Jail. Cruz was housed in a single-man cell in the infirmary and away from the general population because of his high-profile status. The 19-year-old's behavior was noted on February 20th, appeared to break out in laughter both during and immediately following his professional visit. at 1848 hours and later at 1910 hours. A deputy wrote, I don't know what professional visit means, if that's his attorney or if that's law enforcement speaking with him. I'm not real sure. It says other notes from 3 deputies from that day described Cruz as well-groomed, calm, quiet demeanor, follows commands, talks softly and very little, follows commands and responds to questions, etc. Cruz was moved to a different cell February 23rd and received a visit from his lawyers. He appeared to be coherent during that chat. The inmate was observed smiling and giggling. Cruz was described as having trouble sleeping February 21st, 22nd, and 24th. Restless, tossing from time to time. And that was at 2:48 a.m. on the 22nd. On some days, Cruz was described as avoiding eye contact and looking downward with a blank stare. Often sits with a blank stare, appears to be in thought, and that this thinking appeared logical. That kind of stood out to me, the fact that he's thinking 3 things through and he seems to understand, his surroundings. But I don't know. I'm not there. I really don't know. February 24th, Cruz ate his entire breakfast, showered, and brushed his teeth, and was given time to walk outside his cell and did so. He was then visited by an unidentified family member, Cruz, which is interesting. Cruz requested to read a Bible before trying to turn in for the night. Kind of found that a little interesting as well. And turns in bunk, does not sleep, stares at wall in deep thought, eyes closed, appears to be resting, not asleep. I think he knows he's being observed and stuff, but again, I'm not there. So Cruz's lawyer warned against reading too much into the jail notes, etc., etc. All right. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I will see you in the next video. Later, man.